Newspoll's been very tight of late. Today, though, it's shown the LNP or the coalition ahead. That's for the first time since before the last federal election. Joining me now is Shadow Environment Minister Jonathon Duniam. Release the shackles a bit. Give us some real emotion here. This bring a smile to your face?
Well, the saying is trend is your friend, of course. But I suppose what it really says is that the work that's been undertaken by the coalition since the election is having some effect. We are listening to what people are saying. We're trying to understand the problems that they're having and how best we can actually form up solutions to those problems. So that's a pretty simple recipe. But look, polls will be polls, and the real one, as they always say, is on election day that we must pay attention to. So we'll stay focused on that, and hopefully it's the right one for Australia and the coalition.
Most of what voters have looked at, up until now, so we're 2 and a bit years in, is what the government's done. So the opposition's job on the basis of that polling has been done well in terms of bringing down the standing of the government. Do you think more policies are the answer from here, so that you will actually go a larger target opposition and not just sort of hope economic conditions put Labor into minority or squeak you into minority government, perhaps?
Well, I think Australians are sick of being treated like mugs. And so to answer your question, I think they absolutely deserve full and frank policy disclosures before the election. No one's going to sit by and enable us just to sort of coast to the finish line and hopefully win off the back of the government doing a bad job. There are problems that need solving, and so that's why, be it on nuclear, which of course there's more to say about into the future and other parts of the energy policy, or on immigration or any other policy for that matter, there will be a full offering for people to dissect and digest so that they can make an informed decision. So it's not just about the government doing a bad job. We'll highlight where we think we would have done a better job, of course. That's part of our job, so that people understand why we have a better plan. But we'll outline all of our full offering before the next election.
Yeah, and we keep getting told nuclear soon, the whole thing. So we'll see. I'm sure you'll just send it my way when it's available. What about Peter Dutton? So when voters talk to you in the street, when they're not that complimentary of him, what do you feel he needs to improve in terms of how he communicates and comes across? We know there's more and more focus on the leaders. That's just the reality of it. What do they tell you where you think, oh, OK, that's interesting? I'm sure there's positive stuff, but what about the constructive criticism? Let's put it that way.
Oh, well, look, I'm yet to meet a politician who is not the subject of constructive criticism, be it Peter Dutton.
I'd agree with that, sure, yep.
Or thank you for confirming that. Or the Tassie Premier or whoever it might be. At the end of the day, though, what Australians want, while they might want someone to smile more or stand up straight or frown less or whatever it might be, they actually just want an authentic politician who doesn't mouth platitudes and actually looks to understand the issues that Australians are facing and in a serious way get on with the job of addressing those problems. And I think that is why, back to the polls, if they're to be believed, is something to take heart in. I mean, we're always going to be criticised. I get criticised for smiling too much from time to time, but you know what? I've just got a job to do and I'll get on with it.
No, keep smiling. We like that. Energy, I got told when I started down the road of television. And constructive criticism, I've had plenty of that myself over the years. Some of it not even that constructive. But anyway, it's not about me. Gold mine, this $1 billion gold mine that has that the minister's put at least a pause on, or it's got to find another method for its tailings. We did get the full reasons released. This was about irreversible loss to Aboriginal heritage. Have you looked at this reasoning and what's your response?
I've read the full report and it leaves me with asking more questions than the answers I'm supposed to have at the end of that document. I mean, the facts or the claims that the minister has relied upon are disputed by other Indigenous groups. There is full acknowledgement of the economic carnage her decision would have had, not only just on the mining proponents and their shareholders and employees, but the entire community around Blaney. Yet the minister has pressed ahead and disregarded those economic impacts and made this decision. As I say, a lot of the cultural heritage...
She didn't say disregarded. I should jump in there. I mean, she said she weighed it up. So this is the difficult thing. On one hand, you've got cold, hard numbers. On the other hand, this being a sacred site. She also said that the dreaming around this site, this knowledge was passed down to specific custodians, and the relevant prominent elder with the knowledge was in hospital at the time of the consultation. So that's why it perhaps wasn't raised as prominently as people expected. Is that something you weren't aware of? Does it change your mind at all?
No, it doesn't at all. The initial claim put in by the same people who ultimately had a claim successfully defeating this mine application put their application in 2020. I don't think that the individual in question here was in hospital for 4 years, and I'm not sure why this sort of information wasn't available at the beginning. As others have told me, the first application for a Section 10 declaration on this mine looked nothing like the final one upon which a decision was made. So the goalpost moved in a big way, and the mining company tried to respond to all of that. But while the minister did consider the economic imperatives here, she did ultimately dismiss them as not as important as the disputed cultural heritage. So I still think it's a bad decision, and one that frankly should be reversed.
Okay. Jonathon Duniam, appreciate your time. Thank you.